Hello everyone, I'm Zoidberg and welcome to the UK Gaming Network podcast for week ending 3rd of May 2019. This week we've been thinking about the joys of retro gaming and how today's generation of gamers are simply not going to get the same buzz from playing their old favourites. We love nothing more than grabbing an old system and booting up classic old games, whether it's A Link to the Past on the SNES, Sensible Soccer on the Amiga, Whizball on the Commodore 64 or Flashback on anything. Playing them again takes us right back every time. The best thing is that all of these games are the same today as they were the first time we played them, and you sadly can't say the same about most modern games. Minecraft is celebrating its 10th birthday next month, but if you were to try and play it now, you'll find a radically different game from the one released in 2009. It's simply not possible to play it in its original form anymore. Believe me, I tried. Pick up almost any current game and the chances are it will be the same story. Destiny, Fortnite, Battlefield, Call of Duty and more have all had a constant stream of updates and changes designed to keep people playing them, which is great for today, but it doesn't lend itself to the long term. There's clearly a market for vanilla versions too. Just look at the success of World of Warcraft Classic when that came out last year. In 10-20 years time, when you dust off that old PS4 from the loft to show your kids, there's even a chance that these games won't be playable anymore thanks to the potential server closures that will come. As with everything, there are exceptions, like Super Mario Odyssey, Hellblade or the Uncharted series, but too many games have been lost to history in this way. We love gaming, but this is the one aspect of modern gaming that makes us the saddest. Let us know what you think in the comments. Now let's move on to the things that have been happening in gaming this week. Atlus have announced that there will be 2 new Persona 5 games coming to PS4 later this year in Japan, the first of which, Persona 5 The Royal, is an expanded release of the original epic JRPG from 2017. It features extra story content which will include the missing third term from the original story, although the trailer itself is in Japanese so it's hard to know any more information, although to be honest we don't really need any. The other game is Persona 5 Scramble, which is coming from Omega Force, the makers of Dynasty Warriors, who have previously been successful at fitting other franchises into their blueprint, most notably Hyrule Warriors for Nintendo. It looks great, but to be honest it could still go either way. Both games should see a Western release in 2020. Team 17's Overcooked 2 received another DLC pack a couple of weeks ago called the Campfire Cook-Off, and it somehow managed to completely slip our attention until now. It introduces 12 more levels, 4 new chefs and 2 new recipes, all based around an outdoor camping theme. It's still the greatest local co-op game that money can buy, and even though Overcooked 2 isn't quite as good as the original game, more Overcooked is always a good thing. Over the weekend I managed to have a go on the Shock Rods beta, which is the new game from Stainless, the developers of Carmageddon. It's kind of like a combination between Unreal Tournament and Rocket League. I found it to be kind of like the Reese's Pieces of gaming, in that the 2 ingredients are great separately, but they just don't work when you put them together. It's a very early look, and it features Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch and Capture the Flag modes, and I must stress that this is still an early beta, so there's still every chance that things could change for the final release. As it's the start of the month, it's also time for Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus announcements. On Xbox, Marooners and Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon are both available now, the latter of which is one of the better entries in the EDF series. And then later this month, on the 16th, we'll be able to download The Golf Club and Comic Jumper. Over on the PlayStation 4, it's a really good month, unless, like me, you already own both of the games announced. From next Tuesday, you'll be able to get What Remains of Edith Finch and the original brilliant UKGN 2017 Game of the Year, Overcooked. If you haven't played either of these games yet, then we strongly recommend that you do. Finally, you may have already seen this already, but the Sonic the Hedgehog movie received its first trailer this week. On first viewing, it seems like it's an affront to anyone who has eyes. This could potentially be the worst thing to happen in games to movies, since that thing they turned Yoshi into in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The character might be blue, but it doesn't even look like Sonic, and Jim Carrey appears to be playing Dr. Robotnik as a slightly older Ace Ventura. Everyone involved is clearly just picking up a paycheck. It's out in November, looks utterly terrible, and obviously we'll be watching. There haven't been a lot of games released this week, but there have been a few worth talking about. First and foremost, Mortal Kombat 11, which we finally got hold of, and to say that it's been worth the wait would be an understatement. NetherRealm Studios perfected the art of storytelling in fighting games a long time ago, but this has improved things even more. It doesn't really matter that the story is all over the place when the cutscenes and animation are of this high quality. This is to Mortal Kombat 10 what Tekken 3 was to Tekken 2, and it improves everything that matters. It's an evolution, not a revolution, so much so that going back to the old game won't even be an option. The fighting is, as always, tough and satisfying, but pulling off the combos and special moves won't be too difficult for newcomers. When you finish the story mode, there's lots of other play modes to keep you coming back for more. The Towers mode returns, but sadly it features a broken ground that the developers have had to promise to fix. Which is a shame, because how about you fix the game before you release it? SteamWorld Quest is the latest entry in the long-running series from Image and Form, and it's yet another genre mastered by the developers. It's a great card-based RPG with a battle system that you can customise to your own preference. It's all got bags of character with the same excellent cartoon style that you would expect if you've played the previous games. The early chapters ease you in before the difficulty level is ramped up later. It's well worth a look, and it's out on Nintendo Switch now. Also out on Switch is Agalos, which is a retro-style indie platformer that unfortunately finds itself stuck in a crowded genre. It was released on the PC last year, but games such as Hollow Knight, Monster Boy and my personal favourite Iconoclasts have all got there first. There's nothing especially wrong with it, I just didn't find myself compelled to keep playing. If you've not played any of the games that I mentioned, then the chances are you'll enjoy Agalos a lot more than I did. Box Boy and Box Girl is the first entry in Nintendo's puzzle game series to appear on a home console instead of just a handheld, and it has all the charm that you'd expect from a Nintendo title. The puzzles all follow a simple set of rules, and it makes them a joy to solve, even when some of the latter levels are incredibly challenging. It's priced correctly at just $9.99 and well worth a look. Finally, there's Giga Wrecker or Giga Wrecker Alt, depending on how you want to pronounce it, coming from Game Freak, the developers of Pokemon. And the great thing about Japanese studios is that they're always happy to experiment, even if the end result doesn't quite work. It comes from the same side of the studio as Tembo the Badass Elephant, and just like that game, it seems like it should be better than it actually is. I think part of the problem is that the visuals are messy, with characters that don't seem to fit on the backgrounds, and the gameplay is a little bit confusing. If you're interested in this type of game, maybe it's one that you should check out when it hits a sale. That wraps up our podcast for another week. We hope you enjoyed listening. Why not drop us a line and ask us a question, or tell us what you've been playing? Simply search for UK Gaming Network on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube and you'll find us. We'll be attending Play Expo Manchester this weekend, seeing what indie games are being showcased, and probably trying and failing to set high scores on some arcade classics. We'll be back next week with our next podcast, where hopefully we'll be able to tell you all about Days Gone and Shakedown Hawaii. We hope you'll join us. Until then, I've been Zoidberg for UK Gaming Network. See you next time.